Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. We look into various areas of our life and we want a certain output, various maybe from our career, maybe from our relationships, maybe from in our business, maybe from how our reputation in society will be, how much wealth we'll make, what kind of children we may have, how much overall success we get in life, whether we will have happiness in life or not, whether we get peace or not. So there are various areas of our life that we are interested to know about, and we want to know how and when a success may come in these areas. And so what do? We delve deep into the horoscope, we check out what the strength of the respective planet is, or the respective houses, the sign is, and the planets in that house or in that sign. And then we look at whether the dasha or antardasha of the house lord or the planets placed in the lord in that house will give us good results, and also whether a good transit over that house can give us good results or not. So that is the basic way of how we look at and manifest the results of that particular house, where we look at the house, the sign, the planets placed in it, the yogas, and also we look at whether there are any malefic aspects or good aspects on that house. Now, another way of looking at whether we get success in a certain area of life is also based on looking at it from a Ashtak Varga point of view. Now, what is the Ashtak Varga point of view? Firstly, the Varga means a division, and we know that various Vargas, various divisional charts are looked into as part of the overall analysis, and we look at the supporting Varga, the supporting divisional chart, to give us more confidence on whether the Lagna chart is aided by the divisional chart or not. And so using both the charts together, for example, if you're looking at career, we look at the Lagna chart, but we also look at the Dashamsa. If you're looking at relationship, we look at the Lagna chart, 7th house manifestation, 7th lord, the Karakas, Jupiter and Venus, and we also look at how the Navmash is playing its part. So that's how we see. And then we try and manifest results from this. So the Varga is a division that we create. Ashtak Varga means 8 levels of divisions that we use, or 8 levels of strength that we use for planets to be seen in transit. And through those transits, we look at whether the planet in that transit is strong or not and will give us good results or not. Now, one of the things is that Ashtak Varga is not about generic results about a house, but we are looking at it specifically from placement of one planet from the other. So, for example, if a planet is placed at first house or in the second house or the third house away from that planet, then it gives a certain strength, or it may not give strength to that planet. Now, various shlokas in the various texts, whether you talk about Parashara or we look at the Samhita, most of them talk about the strength of planets with respect to the other. This is in perspective of a transit. So, transit of Sun from various planets is seen, transit of Sun from itself is also seen, transit of Sun from the Lagna is also seen, and seen whether Sun's transit from that particular planet or from the Lagna or from itself can give good results or can give it strength, and how far when Sun transits from itself or that planet does strength get attributed to the Sun or not. So this is the example of just the Sun. Similarly, you may look at it for Venus, you look at it for Moon, Saturn, Jupiter and so on. The only thing is that Rahu and Ketu are not in the mix. So, while Ashtak Varga to an extent is a good manner of looking at whether a certain transit will give us good results or not, but it is not a foolproof mechanism, and hence not too much should be either read into the Ashtak Varga that because the Ashtak Varga points are high, so there is a higher chance of me getting good results because of that particular transit, or because the Ashtak Varga points are less, so I will not get good fruits of that particular house. Not too much should be read into it, because firstly, when you discount Rahu and Ketu in any calculations, then it's a fallacy or it's an erroneous prediction or analysis of the overall manifestation. Simple reason being is Rahu and Ketu occupied two houses or two signs in the horoscope plus Rahu's two aspects and Ketu's two aspects, which means overall they control or they influence 6 houses in the horoscope. So if the 50% of the horoscope is influenced by Rahu and Ketu, by discounting them and then looking into overall results and thinking that the overall results could be either good or bad, then we are not looking at it from a holistic perspective, and that's an erroneous way to look at the manifestation of a house or area of life only using Ashtak Varga or depending a lot on the Ashtak Varga. And so the disclaimer from me, please don't depend too much on the Ashtak Varga, neither get too dejected if your Ashtak Varga points in a certain house are less, because I've seen many videos on the internet saying that if your Ashtak Varga points are very high in a certain area, in a certain house, then you will get better results. That is not true. The simple reason it's not true is the reason I gave you about Rahu and Ketu, for example. Second, if you look at, say, the sun's placement from planets, from itself or from the Lagna or from the other planets, and based on that, you arrive at a certain score for the sun, and then you say if sun's transit over the Lagna will give you good points or good results, sun's transit over the 7th house may good results, and so on. Fair enough, but what if the sun is eclipsed by either Rahu or Ketu? What if Rahu and sun are placed together and sun is completely eclipsed? Then how true do the Ashtak Varga points then stand in strength? So when you discount completely the placement or the influence of Rahu or Ketu, then it's an erroneous way to look at it. So only so much importance should be given to the Ashtak Varga points and not more than that. Second, how about yogas? While the shlokas do talk about the Ashtak Varga points where planet is placed from itself, but how much is a bad yoga kept in mind and the strength of the degrees of the planet kept in mind? So if sun is very strong in the horoscope, then it may give slightly better results. But what if sun is debilitated? Say it's in Libra, and if then we are counting the placement of sun from different planets and giving it a high score, then there could be a challenge. So the Ashtak Varga points are given by virtue of a transit from the Lagna or from the other planet, and then those points are plotted into the sign, and the actual dignity of the planet, how strong it is in degrees, whether it is in Digbala or not, whether it's in a good yoga or not, whether it's eclipsed by Rahu or Ketu or not, are not taken into account, and hence completely depending on the Ashtak Varga points, either getting too dejected by it or feeling too strongly in favor of Ashtak Varga and expecting good results because of that placement will not be correct. Recently we have had Saturn transiting into Capricorn beginning of this year in January, and so many of you looking at the Ashtak Varga points of Saturn, especially if you are in the Saturn Dasha or Antar Dasha, may be looking at favorable output from that particular transit. Some of you looking at the Ashtak Varga points may also have been a little dejected. The problem is that when you get dejected, you don't put enough effort to manifest certain area of life, and then that's a wrong way. It's not a right way to give up because of only Ashtak Varga points. Either giving up, putting in effort because you expect weak results, or giving up because you expect such a strong result that you don't want to do anything about it, and you think because of the Ashtak Varga points, good results are almost guaranteed for you. And so that has to be kept in mind. What I am going to do is to take you through how the Ashtak Varga table is first made, based on the strength of individual planets, how overall points of all the planets put together are collated, and then how the final Ashtak Varga table is created and how the results can be manifested. I will most probably make 2 videos about the Ashtak Varga and analysis. This video I am going to dedicate more to understand what the Ashtak Varga is, how the table is created, how the final tabular format and final points are created, and how to an extent you can cull out some of the results for planets. I will follow it up with another video where I will talk largely about how different results could manifest for different planets based on overall putting together the Ashtak Varga points, the Dasha, the dignity of the planets, and so on. So This video is more about overall analysis about an understanding of the Ashtak Varga, what kind of results you may be able to look at from the Ashtak Varga. I will make a separate video. So let's jump into understanding what the Ashtak Varga table is, how it is created for different planets, and how the overall analysis is put together in the form of a table and how to use it. Let's look at the following chart made for Alexander, who was born on March 2nd, 1970 at 4 p.m. in Andhra Pradesh. Once you arrive at the overall horoscope for Alexander, now you will be able to see that the placements of each of the planets in the respective chart can be seen. The ascendant is Cancer and Ketu is placed in the second house in Leo. Jupiter is placed in the 4th house in Libra. Moon is placed in the 6th house in Sagittarius. The 8th house Aquarius has 4 planets: Venus, Rahu, Sun and Mercury. Aries, which is the 10th house, has Saturn and Mars, and the degree of each of the planets is also mentioned. So the ascendant is at 23 degrees, Ketu is at 18 degrees, Jupiter at 12, Moon at 11 and so on. You will be able to see a Neecha Bhang Raja Yoga in the 10th house with Saturn and Mars, though Saturn is not exactly debilitated at 11 degrees. You will also be able to see the Viparita Raja Yoga by virtue of the 12th lord being placed in the 8th house, which is Mercury being placed there. And you will also be able to see the aspects of planets on each other. Now once you see the placements in the horoscope, now the next step to make the Ashtak Varga chart is to see the placements of planets from each other and how in transit from each other they will manifest results. So here we see that Sun is in the 8th house in the Aquarius sign. Now the first step is to make a Binashtak Varga, which means a Varga table for the Sun itself. Now according to Parashara, Sun in transit for itself is benefic in the 1st house, the 2nd, 4th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th houses. Which means if Sun is in Aquarius, as we have seen in this respective chart, then Sun from the various placements from itself will give good results. So Sun from Aquarius will give good results in the 1st, 2nd, 4th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th houses starting from Aquarius. If Sun was in Aries, then in transit, Sun would have been benefic in the 1st house, which is in Aries, in the 2nd house from Aries, which is Taurus, then in the 4th house, which is in Cancer, and so on. If Sun was in Taurus, then Sun would have been benefic in the 1st house from Taurus, which is Taurus, in the 2nd house, which is Gemini, 4th house, Leo, and so forth. But in this example, as Sun is in Aquarius, then Sun would be a benefic in the 1st house from Aquarius, which is Aquarius itself, the 2nd house from us, which is Pisces, the 4th house from it, which is Taurus, the 7th house, which is Leo, 8th house, which is Virgo, 9th house Libra, 10th house Scorpio, and 11th house Sagittarius. So which means that whenever Sun will transit over Aquarius sign, Pisces sign, Taurus sign, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio or Sagittarius, it will give benefic results. So keeping this in mind, a Lagna for the Sun is created. So because Sun is in Aquarius in the birth horoscope, and when the Lagna is created keeping Aquarius as it with Sun there, then you put points of the benefic positions from the Sun itself, and Sun transits over those houses from itself. So for example, because the birth horoscope of Alexander is Aquarius, we make the Aquarius horoscope as Sun is placed in it, and then we add points for each of the transitory benefic positions of Sun. Because the shloka says that Sun is benefic in the 1st house from Aquarius, which is Aquarius itself, so you add one bindi over Sun's placement in the horoscope. Then in the 2nd house, which is Pisces, then in the 4th house, which is Taurus, which this number here denotes. So this number here 2 denotes the Taurus sign, but the house, this house is the 4th house. And then in the 7th sign, so 7th house, which is Leo, and then the 8th house, which is Virgo, then 9th house, which is Libra sign, 10th house, which is Scorpio, and the 11th house, which is Sagittarius sign, which means whenever Sun transits over these signs or these houses from itself, it will give benefic results, and hence one bindi or 1 point is given to Sun's transit over these signs. And once you do that for the transit of Sun from itself, then you look at the next planet, which is the Moon. Now the shloka says that Sun in transit is benefic in the 3rd, 6th, 10th and 11th houses away from the Moon. Now Moon in the birth horoscope of Alexander is placed in the Sagittarius sign. So you make the Sagittarius Lagna, and from there calculate the 3rd, 6th, 10th and 11th position of Sun in transit and give points to that. So here the 3rd horoscope, the 3rd house from the Lagna of Sagittarius will be Aquarius. So Aquarius sign is given one bindu, and then similarly the 6th house, the 10th house and the 11th house will be given one benefic point. So then you look at the transit of similarly from the other planets. So from Mars, Sun is benefic in 1, 2nd, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11 positions. So a similar chart like that for Sun's placement from itself or Moon's placement from Sun is created. Similarly from Mercury, and then for Jupiter and for Saturn, and then from Venus and from the ascendant itself. Say from the ascendant, Sun is benefic in the 3rd, 4th, 6th, 10th, 11th and 12th positions, which is here because the ascendant is Cancer. So keeping Cancer as the Lagna, we put points in each of these houses. When you look at all of these transits of the Sun from the respective planets, then a final table is created. Now this is more like a ready reckoner table. The birth chart of Alexander is on the bottom on the right hand side. Here you can see Sun is placed in Aquarius and Mars is placed in Aries, which is 3 houses away from the Sun. Now because we say that Sun is benefic in the 1st house from Mars, which means as this line says, Sun is benefic in 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11 positions. Then the 1st house from Mars is the house in which Mars is placed itself, which means 1 point has to be given to the Aries sign. Now when you look at the table, the Vinashtak Varga table, when you calculate the transit of Sun from Mars, we know that Sun will be benefic in the houses 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11 positions. Here in the birth chart we know that Mars is in Aries. So the Sun's transit from Aries should be seen because Mars is in Aries. So 1 point should be given to the Aries sign in the column under the Sun's row. So Sun from itself, from Mars for example, in Aries sign should have 1 point, which is highlighted here. And then Sun also in the 2nd house from Mars gives another point, which is highlighted in the 2nd sign column under Mars, but it does not give any points in the 3rd house from Mars, and hence under the 3rd sign from Mars in the row of Mars we get 0 points, but in the 4th house it does get 1 bindu, and so we do it for all the positions where Sun's transit from Mars is being seen as benefic and total points for Mars is added and put together. So when we look at each and every planet and Sun's transit from it by virtue of whether it's a benefic or not, and then we add the Sun's Ashtak Varga points or Vinashtak Varga points, then we find that those overall points will be placed in the each sign under the signs column. Say for example for Aquarius sign, whenever Sun transits over Aquarius, you will find that it will give 5 benefic points or its strength is 5, and hence once you plot for each of these signs, so under Aquarius you have 5, under Pisces you have 2, under Aries you have 4, under Taurus you have 5. When you plot all those points, you will find that the overall strength of the sun in its ability to give overall tally is 48, which is very strong. And then when you plot each of these points for the respective signs and you plot it in the actual birth horoscope, you will find that the number which is inside is the number of the sign. So for example, in the 8th house, in the horoscope for sun, you will find that the 8th house has 11 number and 5. The 11 number which is inside is for the Aquarius sign, and the 5 number is for the overall strength in terms of benefic points that the particular sign has by virtue of sun's transit over it. And then similarly, under the 12th column, you will find that overall 2 points are given for the sun's transit over Pisces, and so the Pisces sign, which is the 9th house for this ascendant, you will find 2 points given, which is on the outside. So the number on the inside is the number of the sign, whereas the number on the outside is the total points given for sun's transit over that particular sign and house, and so on for the 3rd house, 4th, 5th, and all the points are plotted. And once the overall points are plotted, you will find that whenever the sun will be transit over the Lagna, you have 4 points. Whenever sun will transit over Gemini sign, over Leo sign, you will have 3 points. Whenever sun transits over Virgo, it has 3 points, and so on. Now, one of the things you will see here is that when sun is transiting over itself, over Leo sign, sun is able to generate only 3 benefic points. However, when sun is transiting over Libra, which is an inimical sign to itself, it is still generating 6 points. And when it is transiting over another friendly sign, which is Pisces, it is generating just 2 benefic points. So this means that the Ashtak Varga table does not take into account that when sun transits over its own sign or its natural house, which is Scorpio here in the 5th house, sun will be generating more strength, and when sun transits over the 10th house where it gets Digbala strength, it will also generate more strength. So that is not taken into account, and only by virtue of transit from a particular placement with reference to planets is taken. So here this is the Binashtak Varga of the sun. Now when you calculate the Binashtak Varga of different planets, say the rule for moon is benefic in the 1st, 3rd, 6th, 7th, 10th, 11th position from itself, and then the sun is benefic in the 3rd, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th placement from the sun. Mars is benefic, then for Mars, moon is benefic in the 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th, 9th, 10th and 11th positions. From Mercury, moon is benefic in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, 8th, 10th and 11th position, and so on for all the planets, other planets including the ascendant. Now when you plot using the similar fashion or similar manner that we use for sun, here you will find that the overall placement versus each sign has generated some points. So for example, moon's transit over Aries with respect to Saturn, Jupiter, Mars and all put together generates 5 points. Over the Taurus sign generates 6 points. Over the Gemini sign generates 5 points, and so on. And when the final points are plotted over the Binashtak Varga of the moon, you will find that moon's transit over itself over the Lagna is generating just 2 points, whereas moon's transit over Virgo sign, which is an inimical sign to itself, is generating very high 7 points. And so this is a manner of seeing the points generated by a planet with respect to transit over the other planet, and not keeping into account whether the planet is strong or exalted or debilitated in the respective sign or not. And then you generate the Binashtak Varga of Mars, and then you put together the chart for Mars and you plot the horoscope or the chart for Mars. Then you look at the Binashtak Varga of Mercury, and then you plot the chart for Mercury with respect to transit from each of these signs, creating overall points for each of the signs and then plotting it in the overall Lagna. So the Lagna remains Cancer as it is seen in the Lagna here with 4 number inside, but on the outside is the number which Mercury will be generating when it transits over the particular sign. So here Mercury is generating 6 points when it transits over Cancer sign. However, when it is transiting over its own sign Virgo, which is its exaltation sign, you find that it is giving only 3 benefic points. Whereas even in Gemini, when it is transiting over Gemini, it is generating only 3 points. However, it is generating very high 7 points when it transits over Libra. It generates very high points when it is transiting over Sagittarius, and again very high points when it is transiting over Taurus. So when you take into account the Vinashtak Varga of Jupiter and create the chart for Jupiter and so on, you will find that each one of them is also given a final tally of points. Here Jupiter has the highest final tally of points, which is 56 points, because Jupiter is also the biggest benefic. Then you move on to Venus and you plot the horoscope or the chart for Venus, and you plot each of the transits of Venus over the Lagna chart, keeping in mind what kind of benefic point it is generating over each of these signs. And you will find that Venus also is given a tally of high 52 points when compared to the other planets, which may be as low as 39 for Saturn. And then when you create the Vinashtak Varga of Saturn with reference to what Saturn's benefic points will be from transit from various planets, you will be able to create the chart for Saturn, which means that for each of the positions of Saturn from respect to other planet, what points it will be given. So for example, here we see that Saturn is benefic in the 3rd, 5th, 6th and 11th from itself. So where is Saturn in the birth chart? In the Lagna chart, it is in the 10th house. So in the 10th house, because we have said that it will give from the 3rd, it will give points from itself in the 3rd, 5th, 6th and 11th. So Saturn will give, when you look at the Saturn's placement from itself, in the 3rd house from itself it gives 1 point, in the 5th house from itself it gets another point, in the 6th house from itself it gets another point, and overall points with respect to Saturn's transit from it over itself will give you 4 points. And when you take into account Saturn's transits from various other planets and you plot the total tally with respect to that particular sign, you find that Saturn's transit over Aries gets 1 bindu or 1 point, over Taurus 3 points, over Gemini 3 points, over Cancer 3 points, over Leo 4 points, over Virgo 6 points and so on. So in the total you will find that Saturn's transit over Capricorn gets just 3 points, whereas Saturn's transit over Aquarius generates 5 points. Whereas Saturn's transit over Leo creates or gives more benefic points than its transit even over its own sign of Capricorn. And hence a transit over Capricorn of Saturn, which is right now on, should not be seen as too benefic for this person. However, the transit over Leo seems to be more benefic in terms of the overall benefic points given here. And the total points, benefic points given to Saturn for all its transits combined over all planets is only 39. And then you plot the chart for Saturn and then you do it for all the planets, and then the final Ashtak Varga table is created. This Ashtak Varga table is created putting together all the Vinashtak Varga points of each of the planets and how the horoscope is. So if you look at the Sun's chart, if you go back and find Sun's number of points in Aries, you will find we had given 4 points to Sun. Over Aries, over Taurus, in its transit it was generating 5 benefic points. Over a transit over Gemini it was creating 3 benefic points. Over Cancer 4, over Leo 3 and so on. And so when you put all the points together and you give a total, what is the overall strength of the particular sign, that total the bottom row tells us how strong that particular sign is. So which means the first sign here is Aries, which is generating overall benefic points of 28 with respect to transit of various planets over it. Then the transit over Taurus for all planets put together is generating 31 points. So you can say the Taurus sign is generating an overall strength of 31, Gemini is generating 24, Cancer is generating 32, Leo is generating 26, and so on. So here you will find that the highest tally or biggest strength is for Sagittarius sign, which is 37, and then post that is the Libra sign, which is 33, and then you have Cancer sign, which is the ascendant, which has 32 points, and then Taurus sign is generating 31 points, as well as Aquarius, which is generating 31 points. The least number of points is being gathered by Pisces, which is the 9th house and supposed to be the highest house for gains. Yet you will find that the total transits of all planets put together as a final Ashtak Varga table are just giving us 18 points. And hence total dependency or a lot of dependency only on the Ashtak Varga table and analyzing results from it will not be correct. Now when you put together all the total strength of all the planets in the Ashtak Varga table and then plot it over the respective birth chart, this is how it will look like. So this is still a Cancer birth chart, which is that of Alexander, with 4 in the Lagna in the inside, which shows that it is a Cancer Lagna, and you find that the Lagna is generating 32 benefic points. The second house, which has the sign Leo, is generating 26 points. The third house, which is the Virgo sign, is generating 28 points. The fourth house, which is the Libra sign, is generating 33 points, and so on. So here we will find that the strongest strength in terms of number of points is generated by the 6th house of Sagittarius signs. Now the 6th house is a Dusthana, yet it is generating the highest number of benefic points by virtue of the transit over it. This means that the 6th house in terms of service and service to others, and Sagittarius being a sign of spirituality, higher learning and guidance, so this person may get his maximum benefit when he is resorting to or taking spiritual medium to reach out and help others. And because Sagittarius is also a sign of long distance travel and meeting and relating to other cultures, so this person may also be a counsel or a guide to people from across communities, across cultures, across national boundaries, and will be able to serve people in spirituality or using spirituality as a medium or higher learning as a medium or a management consultant, and his best gains will be in service to people either through consulting or through guiding or advising. Now the other important thing is that the 10th house has 28 points, whereas the 11th house has 31 points. Now because we know that the second house to a particular house is the earning from that house, so the 11th house is the earning from the 10th house. Now because the 10th house has only 28 points, whereas the 11th house has 31 points, this means that the person's effort will be beneficial to him. The more effort that he puts in, the more success he will get, and the success is coming from the Taurus sign, which means money will come in when the higher the effort is. So the higher the effort he puts into in his career, which is strongly connected to the 6th house of service, the more gains he will make, the more money he will make, the more materialistic gains he will make in his aspirations coming true, in his wishes coming true, and in the general society, because the 11th house is the house of general society and reaching to a social network beyond his immediate network. So whenever he does service to people across cultures, across communities, across boundaries, then the person will find that he will get name, fame and more success. The more effort he puts in, he will gain more. However, his higher learning, his higher degrees may not come too much to help him in overall how his career is manifesting. So if he gets a high degree like MBA or even getting masters in something, in some subject, yet those higher degrees may not serve him as much as his attitude of using a spiritual medium or means to serve others will bring him. And so when you look at each of the houses, for example, the 12th house having Gemini sign has only 24 points. Now there are also points given to each of the houses, and how much point should be a minimum number of points for the house to give benefits. So normally, which is 24 and less points is seen as not being very beneficial for that particular house, but points over 30 are supposed to be very good. A house which has more than 35 points gives much better beneficial results than a house which has lesser points. So here the person's success will not be too much from foreign lands, may not be very high from higher learning, may not be very high from his marital relationships also, because the 7th house has only 24 points and the 7th Lord Saturn is debilitated in Aries. The Neech Bhang along with Mars does create some respite, however by not much. So when the final table is created for the Samudaya Ashtak Varga or the total Ashtak Varga, you will find that the Cancer sign, the Lagna, has 32 points, which means the person will gain overall through his efforts, through his approach to serving, and through that he will also gain name, fame and success in society, and may also gain good material benefits and domestic peace and happiness, as the high 33 points in the 4th house in Libra is seen. Libra is also the sign of relationships, so he will be very balanced in his relationships, will be very patient also, and will also approach relationship as an equal partner because of Libra energies. However, with only 26 points in the 2nd house ruled by Leo sign, his savings and his earnings will not be high basis his effort, because effort has higher points 28, whereas his savings is only 26, which means there will be some point in his life will have to break up of his savings is seen. This is also seen by virtue of Ketu being placed in the 2nd house. So overall results should be seen keeping in mind the Ashtak Varga points. It should also be seen what house has generated how many points, what are the placements of what planets in the respective houses. For example, we saw that the 2nd house is generating less points, yet and Ketu is also placed there, and the 2nd Lord Sun is placed in the 8th house, which means that there will definitely be a challenge in earning. So overall results should be seen, overall manifestation should be seen of the Ashtak Varga. Only the total number of points should not be taken into account and should be seen as whenever the transit of the Lagna of the Lord of the 11th house comes, for example, because the 11th house is strong, so the person will get very good results, because here the 11th house Lord is Mercury, and Mercury is gone into the 8th house. So if you look at the 11th house having high benefic points, and then during the Dasha of Mercury the person will get good benefits, then it may not be the case, because Mercury is going into the 8th house and it is eclipsed by Rahu. So that also should be kept in mind. The other thing is the highest number of points is generated by the 6th house, Sagittarius. So if one assumes that the Dasha of Jupiter or the Antardasha of Jupiter will bring very high gains because of high number of points given to the sign which is Sagittarius in the 6th house, then it may not be true, because here Jupiter is placed in Libra sign, which is an inimical sign to itself, and under the aspect of two malefics, both Saturn and Mars. So overall analysis should be kept in mind, keeping some attention to Ashtak Varga, some attention to the yogas, to the doshas, overall strength of the horoscope, and how strong the Dasha lords also are, and the Antardasha lords also are there, and whether there are any conjunction or aspects on it, and only one thing should not be kept into mind. So this is a short and sweet and a ready reckoner kind of a video to look into how the Ashtak Varga should be seen, how the Vinashtak Varga for each planet is created, and then using all the planets placement from the other planets, the final chart for that planet is made, and all the points to put together, the final Ashtak Varga is made, and that is then plotted in the birth chart to see overall strength of the particular house and how the transits of planets over them will bring good gains. Now we have had one transit of Saturn over its own sign of Capricorn this year, and the other transit which is going to happen or has just happened just couple of days back is of Ketu and Rahu. So because of these important transits this year, please look into your horoscopes and see how specifically the Saturn transit is bringing results to you by virtue of being placed in Capricorn. Which house does your Capricorn sign has, what is the number of total benefit points there, and whether Saturn is giving you benefits by virtue of its transit into its own sign after roughly more than 28 years or so. The other thing is also look forward to the next transit which is happening in 2 months time of Jupiter, which will be going into its own sign of which will be transiting into Capricorn, its debilitation sign this November. And how many benefit points is Jupiter creating in Capricorn? Now because two transits are going to happen, or both Saturn and Jupiter are going to be in Capricorn in 2 months time, look at the overall strength of Capricorn sign, which house it is, how many overall points that Capricorn sign or that house is generating, and what kind of results you may be getting. The other important point is that a particular house has many areas of life attached to it. The 9th house has long distance travel, higher learning, dealing with other cultures, has long distance travels, also has relationship with gurus, relationship with father, and so on. So look into how the result is being manifested for that particular house and what area it is influencing, because there are many areas as we talked about for just the 9th house alone, and the 5th house will also have many areas. So Ashtak Varga in a certain house doesn't mean, or high points of Ashtak Varga in a certain house doesn't mean all the areas of that house will get you good fruits. If the Karaka of the house is in a problem, if the Lord of that house is in a challenging position with respect to what time of life it is, then also you may face challenges. If the Dasha of the Lord of the 5th house is coming very late in life, then the education may not be in question, but your investments may be in question. That should also be looked into when a final overall analysis of what area the particular transit is affecting is seen during a particular Dasha or Antardasha also. So friends, use Ashtak Varga only as a ready reckoner and as a guide, but not give too much importance to Ashtak Varga, saying that if the Ashtak Varga has high points, then obviously I'll get very good results, or if the Ashtak Varga points are low, then don't be too dejected by it, because there are many other things which contribute to give overall results of that particular house and the sign. So friends, please like this video, please share this video, and please subscribe to my channel. And if you're looking for a personal consultation for me, please reach out to me at the links given below. And till some other time with some other video, this is your friend, astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.